Welcome to the Fundraising Elevator, where we're all headed up. This podcast is a production of Swaim Strategies, a consulting firm dedicated to nonprofit fundraising events. We're coming to you today from the studios of the AV department. Please welcome our hosts, Kristen Steele and Samantha Swaim.
Hello, and welcome to the Fundraising Elevator, where we're all headed up. Today, just like last week, is a slightly different format. For the Elevate conference, we had an amazing group of benefit auctioneers come together to share their wisdom, and we wanted to make sure that they shared it with you. So we've put together an Auctioneer Roundtable discussion for today. Sam, I'm going to kick it over to you. Who's with us?
Well, I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves. We have auctioneers from all over the nation. So if you could start first by just telling us who you are, your organization, what region you're in of the country, and maybe like a special skill you have, like a secret, your superpower skill when you hit the stage. So Adrienne, I'm going to start with you.
Okay, I'm Adrienne Livingston, and I am in the Portland, Oregon area. I have been auctioneering. I'm new. I'm with Artisan Auctions. Kelly was my mentor for 8 months, and I've been now on her team for 2.5 years. And a special skill, I'm still new, so I'm learning things. But, I just think bringing authenticity to the stage, and really engaging quickly with the audience.
That's amazing. I think that's an important aspect to have with any audience. Matt, jump into you.
Hi there. My name is Matt Robin. I'm the Kilted Auctioneer, as you can see if you're watching online. I am in the Bay Area, San Jose, California area, but I travel all over to do events. And I guess my secret skill, I was a circus performer for 25 years, so I like to bring that joy and energy and passion to the events I do.
I love it. So we need to find you the perfect circus theme event.
I'm game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stephen, joining us all the way from Seattle. You left Elevate, jumped in the car, drove 3 hours away. Welcome home. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. Well, yeah, my name is Stephen Kilbreth from Kilbreth Events, and they call me the auctioneer that wears pants. So since I came after Matt, but my special skill, I think this is what makes a benefit auctioneer special. We all have this skill, is just connecting with the audience, making creating genuine moments with audiences in the crowd, and making everybody feel like they're part of the event, and making the mission the star of the event. I think that's a special skill. I'm sure we all have it, but that's what makes us special in what we do and unique.
I couldn't agree more.
And I'm from the Seattle area.
Kelly, jumping into you.
Thanks, Sam. I'm Kelly Russell with Artisan Auctions, and I am I'm a little bit of everywhere. I'm in the Portland market. I'm in the Midwest market. I go wherever people need me, really. And let's see, my special skill, it would be a tremendous amount of energy. I like to be slightly bonkers on the stage, but in a good way. Yeah, that's what I would say.
I would add in there your strategy on the appeal.
I do like a lot of strategy.
Sauce.
I do like a lot of strategy on an appeal too.
Bobby?
Well, hey there, everyone. My name is Bobby D. I am with a few different organizations. My company that I founded in 2014 is Call to Auction, because auction is action with you in it. Yes. So CEO, lead auctioneer of that. I've got a great team of auctioneers across the nation that we're able to help any nonprofit anywhere that they are with any budget. And then I'm the co-founder of Inspire Hearts Fundraising. We are the only firm in the nation that is a paddle raise only firm.
Oh.
So there's groups that are doing paddle raise only events, and we are proud to be able to serve them. And then just released here at Elevate, the Gala Toolbox. I am co-founder of the Gala Toolbox, which is a online collection of different tools for people to use to organize and plan and create and build a successful gala. And my superpower is I woke up like this.
Well, I think we need to have like entrepreneur therapy for you. Yeah. You have some serial entrepreneurship.
I am a chronic entrepreneur.
I think that could be a whole episode for sure. Well, Sasha, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Sasha Summer Cousineau. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm based in Seattle, Washington. I'm a solopreneur. It's just little old me, tooling my way all around the greater Puget Sound area and beyond. I think my special sauce is that I find genuine joy in the paddle raise. It is the most connective, the most energetic, the most egalitarian moment of any event. And because I feel so authentically joyful around it. I love to see the audience as they light up and feel joy too. So I think that would be my special sauce.
Well, since you brought up the paddle raise, Bobby brought up the paddle raise, Kelly, the paddle raise, let's talk about the paddle raise for a second. Because yesterday during Elevate, we did a demo, and I know it is something that we see kind of on the coasts and something that we don't see as adopted widely in the Midwest. And yet I believe so strongly that it's like the superhero moment, and it is the thing that the audience feels the best about. And yet I think it's the thing that the nonprofit is scaredest of. Yesterday, we had a gentleman in the audience from Georgia, and he came up to me afterwards and he said, I've never seen something like that before. And I am like so pumped. That was so incredible. Like his adrenaline was running. So I'm curious, anyone have any thoughts about like what makes a paddle raise less scary for our nonprofit friends who are thinking about doing it? I see, Bobby, you had a thought. I saw
Yes, it's being prepared is really the key part of that, and coming in with some strategy and building up towards that success. And some of the key components are definitely making sure that you have some pre-secured gifts that are ready to break that ice and kill the crickets, as I like to say. So it adds some certainty to the paddle raise instead of just like hoping that a paddle goes up.
I think the fear, because I get this a lot in the Midwest all the time. People are like, well, we have to ask people? What? We have to ask people?
Asking.
Yeah, the fear is asking because it's the idea of, well, if I ask them, what are they going to ask of me? Or potentially like, what if they say no? And I go, if they say no, it just means ask again and be more creative, right? There are ways people want to give to your organization. They do. But they don't know that they can in this format because you haven't given them the opportunity to do it. So as soon as we give them that opportunity and we throw that out into the world, I have seen, I had one person say, we're not doing that. They cut it out of my script. And I said, oh, we're doing it. And they're like, no, we can't do that. And I said, why can't we? It's your event, right? And they said, well, yeah, it's our event. And I said, let's try it. And they said, okay, we'll trust you on this. We had no pre-commits, nothing. We just had to do it. And for that group, it was a tiny little group, but they made $20,000 and they went, we didn't know that could happen. We didn't know we could just ask. I said, what are we doing next year? They're like, we're doing that again. And I said, perfect. That's all we needed, just to test run it once. So sometimes I think it takes the courage of someone saying, let's just try and see what happens.
Yeah, I think changing or framing it as an opportunity to support instead of asking to give is where you are having that person become a partner with your organization. And it's no longer, we're asking for something. Like, no, we are giving you an opportunity to identify as the generous person that you are and prove it by giving money.
I see Stephen had a thought. I want to make sure we have space for Stephen joining us virtually.
Well, I was just going to say I need better negotiating skills because Kelly seemed to be able to talk her client into it. I've only had one since I've been doing this in the early mid 90s, I would say. Only one client say, if you do this, we will not hire you back. And so we did not do a paddle raise at that event. And to be fair, they also did not hire me back. I would say that because they didn't raise enough money, right? So that's, and that's the key. And I do think that it is such an important, vital importance. And Sam, as you mentioned, in the Northwest, we're so used to it, but I'm always amazed by people across the country who are still afraid. And it's like, don't be afraid. It's really, people are in the room. You got them in the room. They love you. Let's do it. Let's raise the money.
Adrian.
Yeah, well, two things. I'm thinking when you're thinking of fundraising, one of the main reasons people don't give is because they're not asked.
Yep.
And so I think really taking it out of the event and saying, let's look at fundraising as a whole. And so you want to ask. So that's the first thing. The second is I've actually seen some small nonprofits try it without hiring a professional. And because they have been in rooms where they see a paddle go up at 10,000 and they think, oh, if I do this same event, that's going to happen. And they don't do it. Bobby D has already said you have to plan. So I think really educating them as we do on this is what makes it successful. And you do have to have pre-committed gifts. You have to be intentional. You have to plan. You have to have strategy.
Yeah. Amen to all those things. Yes. It is the non-professional, I think, that spoils it for organizations. Sasha, you had additional comment.
Well, the fear around asking, I mean, that's a really human, very normal fear, right? All of us have different relationships with money. But the fact is, you only have two things. First of all, closed mouths don't get fed. So if you don't ask, you don't have the opportunity for anybody to ever say yes. So you ask. But B, you only have so much time with your audience. You only have so much of their bandwidth and their attention and their engagement. And therefore, you have to use their time wisely. You have to be very thoughtful and mindful about the way you use their time. And if you invite them into a space and you don't make it clear what you need, then you have wasted their time. You have not honored their gift of time, energy, and attention. And so I think the more honestly and straightforward we ask, the better, because then they know what their mission is. They know what their call to action is. And asking in advance, I tell my clients this, when you invite somebody to a fundraiser, they know you're going to ask for money.
Yes.
Like it's not a surprise. And if you're contacting them in advance of the event about your fundraiser, they know you're probably calling to talk about the fundraising. So you're not shocking anybody. And the more you're sort of willy-nilly and apologetic about it, the more you're giving them the reason to think you should be apologetic about it. So we need to go in with authentic, like be yourself. If you're nervous, say, oh, I'm a little bit nervous, but I want to have this conversation with you, and get to it and honor their time and attention.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Well, and I think as we learned in the keynote from Cherry Ann, who the book Neurogiving, if you haven't read it already, please do so. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a great book.
But the cognitive dissonance that occurs in a donor, when you invite them to an event, they want to support you, and you literally do not give them that opportunity. Their brain is all of a sudden freaking out. It's releasing adrenaline and norepinephrine. It's not the good stuff that we want, the dopamine and the oxytocin that says, I got to help. And they literally walk away with a stress response to your event. And that doesn't make them want to come back or support you in any other way.
I actually have an example of that.
Yeah.
I was at an event and it was wonderful. And at the end, we closed and a person yelled, how can we give?
Oh, you're like, let me show you.
Hold, please. I've got an idea.
Well, I want to know a little bit about just events that you're at right now, what you're seeing in events, what's different in events. I feel like in the past 30 years that I've been doing events, more change has happened just in the past 3 years. And so is there anything that's like really exciting to you right now going on? What's sort of the it thing for you? Sasha?
More mission, less stuff.
Yes!
Stole it out of my mouth.
That's what we were all going to say.
Yeah.
Talk more about it. How are you seeing that show up?
You know, people who go to events have stuff. They don't go to the event to get stuff. I mean, okay, there are some people who go to the event to get stuff. I don't think that's the majority of our audience.
Yeah.
The majority of our audience is there because they care about something deeply. They want to support that thing. The majority of our audience is there, I mean, frankly, not to get dark, but like, we're living in wild times.
Yeah.
And people want to be in a room where they feel connected. They want to feel like they're surrounded by like minds. And they want to feel like, maybe I can't solve every single thing, but I can do something about this thing. Going back to the importance of asking, let's give them the opportunity to do something about this thing. But my clients, I frankly don't, I mean, I love auctioneering. I love selling. It's so fun. It's the razzle dazzle. It's the showgirl of the event, right? Like an auction is so much fun, but I don't want to spend all night selling. What I want to do is spend the night in community, and I want to be looking in people's eyes, and I want to know that we're opening heart spaces.
Yeah.
You know, I want to know that we are all here and we're feeling each other's energy and our vibe, and we're feeling that connection. And right now, when we're in this space, we feel great. That is so much more important to me than selling, because people may or may not remember anything they ever bought.
Yeah.
Right? They have stuff.
Yeah.
But they're going to remember how they felt, and they're going to remember that connection. And if you really honor that connection and that community and that heart, they're not only going to want to come back next year, they're going to tell people, they're going to bring people.
I always think of the nonprofit too. Like it is so labor intensive to get the stuff, to merchandise it, to market it, to write the descriptions. And it's just not where the money is right now at all.
I will dovetail off that because I think it's also generational too. So you've got this younger generation that just wants to connect. They want to get mission focused. They want to change the world. While the older generation has all this fun junk, let's say, and the younger generation's going, oh my God, I'm going to have to deal with this someday.
Yeah.
We're going to inherit a whole lot of stuff and things that we're going to have to figure out what to do with, right? So isn't it more fun? Like, you already know you're going to get all these things that you're going to deal with later. Wouldn't it be great if we could like change the world and do big things to help these amazing organizations in a way that's meaningful?
You know, doing a lot of events across the country, what I'm seeing as a central theme is experience.
Yeah.
Is creating as a positive experience as possible from beginning to end of the, you know, the donor journey through, you know, the entire event. And the organizations that are doing it right, like they've got the, you know, the kids at the welcome, the registration process is super smooth. The what used to be called the cocktail hour, what we're calling the connection hour now, is actually people connecting with the mission and all of that. And then the program that is put together purposefully and strategically to where we're bringing all of the donors on this just beautiful ride of emotions. And then once it's completed, then they're going off into the night with some type of surprise and delight, and they're just feeling great about it. And that's what they're going to remember about your organization. So then the next time that appeal letter comes out, or, you know, they get that phone call or that invite to coffee, they go back to that moment and they're like, oh my gosh, yes, this is the organization that I want to be behind because they care for me, they love me, and they made me feel good. So now I'm going to give back.
You just built a beautiful event arc. Thank you for that.
I learned a lot at Elevate.
Yeah, so it's so interesting because I think sometimes when I look at the trend, I've been in the nonprofit space for about 25 years.
Yeah.
And before it was thinking, oh, we need to give the person that's coming in the room something to do, so let's have a silent auction. Let's do all these auction items. Whereas now it's lovely coming into a space because back then it was like 3 to 6 hours that you would spend at an event.
Yeah.
And now, because people really value their time, that is changing. So that's one thing I love seeing in this new trend, that it's really getting someone in and out, really being intentional about the experience, and having the nonprofits understand you spending all that time trying to find silent auction items, that's not where the fundraising is. It is you building relationships outside of the event. It's what you do outside and then post. Obviously, you want the great experience, but you can have a great experience and not really capitalize on it if afterwards you don't follow up. And so for me, just seeing that you're coming into an event and you are focusing on the paddle raise. It's not necessarily even the auction. I spoke with someone yesterday at Elevate and told them, you don't necessarily have to have an auction.
No.
The thing is, an auction only there are specific people, a small portion of people that participate. When you have a paddle raise, you invite everyone to participate.
Yeah.
So that's wonderful, moving from, okay, let's think of what we can give them to do, and being more intentional about how do you want to build a fundraising relationship with this person.
Yes.
And really focusing on the paddle raise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think relationship is exactly what I was going to say. It's the shift from transactional giving to relationship giving, relationship support. It's the mission focus. It's experience. You know, the younger generation, I hate that I have to say that, but they're younger than me now. But the younger generation, they're not looking for stuff and things. Art and jewelry are no longer selling.
Yeah.
It is, you know, experience. It is, can you get something that truly is a focus to the mission of that organization? And then, if they're asking me how many auction items, I tell them 3, because I know they're going to bring me 12, and I'm going to hopefully get them to 5. Please don't have a silent auction, or if you do, make it very focused things. No offense to the wonderful CPA or the life plan, estate planning person who wants to don't, but nobody's going to spend, it's going to be an insult to you when it sells for nothing. So get the things that people are really excited about. If you're going to do it, have a fun raffle with a very intentional gift. It's not what did somebody find in their closet to give us. And then, the biggest, most important part is that paddle raise. I mean, going back to that.
We can have garage sales for that. Stephen, I saw you nodding your head.
Oh, well, I mean, everybody has made such great points, but it's not, it's not 2019 anymore where you can, we used to do events where it was 10:30 at night. We were still auctioning off items, and it was totally okay because that's what kind of the standard was. And now I think it's like Sam, as you said, it's less is more. It's getting them in and raising the money. And I always tell people now, it's like, I want to be done by 9 o'clock. There's a sweet spot of being done where we can't go too late in the evening. I mean, we can do things in your program, but just as long as it's a tight program and we back time from when we want it to be over, I think we can get things in there. I know we all kind of have different ideas on how many auction items is perfect, but I think that it is more important to have mission focused things and also keep that timeline tight.
And if I can just add one more thing. Back in the day, I would see nonprofits wait till the very end to ask, and you lose so many people. So what I like now is that it's toward the middle, almost beginning at times, depending on the event and the timing, but it's toward the middle, that peak of the event. So if someone wants to leave, you can't leave yet. You can leave at the end, and we've already done the fundraising ask because it's in the middle.
I've had organizations make that shift where they just simply did nothing else different except move their fundraising earlier in the evening, and their guests left saying things like, that was the best event, and they couldn't tell you why. It just felt better. It felt different. But I feel like to every rule, there's an exception. So I am a big believer that like auctions have had their day and they can go away. I feel like there's a right place and right time for packages, but I feel like there's like an exception always, right? Like occasionally you just have that school community that is just like, we don't really care about spending time with each other, and we're not going to donate cash to this school because we already pay tuition, but I'll buy their stuff, So sometimes there's an exception.
Well, in the wine communities too, as Beth was mentioning the other day, they do these huge auctions of like 30 items, and I'm like, woo, that's a lot. It happens. There are communities that have certain expectations around their event, and you just have to build that in and go, okay, we're gonna go with that. I always try and just shift one thing if I can. Try and get them to do something new.
Stephen, what's your exception?
Well, I was going to say we do a lot of schools. So the average number of items I did in an auction in 2025 over all of our 70 auctions was 16. That's the average number in 2025. Now, I say that and everybody gasps when I say that, but we do a lot of schools. And the problem is when I look at schools, one of my schools has over 40 items in their auction, but I look at it and I say item number 37 is still selling for 200% of value. How can I tell them to take that away? I mean, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you in a private moment at Elevate, but how do I tell them to take that away? Because you're not going to make 200% of value on an item, on that. So we're giving away an opportunity for people to give. So that to me, I look at the data, and if they had 20 items and in the last half of the auction, they're only making 60% of value, obviously, why are we doing that? Get rid of it. But if we're making 200% of value, it's hard for me to tell them no.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you just said data, which I want to reflect on, because I think having your data informs those decisions of when the exception. Right. It's easy for us to generalize, right? But oftentimes when we're working with an organization where guests are coming as an invite from a table host, maybe they're not already a part of the school community, but they're being invited to support housing or cancer or any of a number of amazing causes. The giving to the cause or the mission is, I think, the shift that we're really seeing. But you said experiences, and I want to tap into experiences because I think sometimes that's how we center mission, right? So I'm curious, if you think back to your 70 events you did last year, what is a mission item that stands out for you? Is there a cause you were raising money for that you had
I'll probably cry just trying to talk about it. It's a school that auctions off lunch with the custodian.
Oh, that's so good.
And it goes for like $4,000. And it is literally lunch for 4 kids during the school day at In-N-Out. And they get a back of kitchen, back of house tour of In-N-Out. But it is this beloved custodian who has been there forever. And it just, it's incredible. And it's like, yes, that. That as opposed to love selling trips to Mexico. Don't get me wrong, but nobody cries because they're thinking about buying a trip to Mexico.
Right.
But everybody tears up thinking about lunch with that custodian. It's just magical.
Yeah. Any other experience moments?
There's some raw moments that are able to happen at events that you just don't expect. There was an event we were working with for families that have members that have cancer, and this is a cancer support community. And there was, we were doing the ask, and there was, a little girl on stage that told the story, talked about her journey. And we went through the paddle raise, and we're doing the paddle raise, and we're doing all of this stuff. And all of a sudden, that same little girl is in the audience waving her hand at me. And I'm like, yeah, how can I help you? She's like, well, I've got my allowance and I want to give this. And just like literally takes her little coin purse and dumps it into my hand. And I'm like, oh my God, friends, like this right here is the future of philanthropy. And for, someone that has been through this journey to be able to give back, like how special is that? So it's these pure, raw, authentic moments that happen that everybody really, they're going to remember. I'm like, I remember this, it happened 10 years ago, but it's those types of moments and creating those types of spaces for opportunities like that to happen at a gala is something that's super, super special.
I had a client who took their guests on a multi-year journey, a multi-year investment journey. Pardon me, my throat is being wild this morning, but they are Benefits Law Center. They provide legal benefits to people who are mostly unhoused or, having a hard time accessing benefits. Maybe they have mental health difficulties or substance abuse difficulties, and they're entitled to benefits but are not able to access them, right? It's not particularly easy to fill out all those government forms or to take them in or whatever. So that's what they do, is they help people access the benefits that they're rightly entitled to. And they were realizing that they could not, having their people they served come to their office was yet one more obstacle to getting them to their benefits. So they wanted to have a mobile law clinic so that they could go out to the people that they served. So they talked about this concept 1 year. They're like, and you've been along with us for this journey as we've expanded, and this is our vision for next year. And then next year we did the paddle raise, and that was the biggest focus of the paddle raise is like, hey, we're raising money for the mission, but we want you to know that one of our biggest priorities in the next year is funding our mobile law clinic. So they'd set the stage the year before. Now we're raising money, and not restricted funds, but saying, hey, this is one of our biggest priorities with the funds that we raise in the next year. So they did it. They put together the mobile law clinic. And then the next year at the auction, what I sold was a buy-in package. Why my throat is doing this, I do not know. Where people got to go on the inaugural ride.
Oh, so good.
So we're like, we have 16 seats on the mobile clinic bus. I was calling it the Justice bus. They don't call it that. They're like, Sasha, you're doing a lot right now. I was like, always. But I'm going to sell you your spot. And people went bananas for it. They're like, do you think we can get like $100 a seat? I was like, I think you can get $1,000 a seat. And that's pretty much what we did, right? Is we like bid it up until we got the 16 paddles in the air and then the price that was right, and then we sold it and they went, and then they had like cheese and crackers back at the office, and I mean, it was just so sweet. But it was 100% mission aligned, and this audience had been on the journey for 3 years. We had this messaging point, and it culminated in something real that they could experience.
So I want to dovetail off of that. Kelly and I had the experience recently of seeing Trian Kochi. He was speaker yesterday at Elevate. He was at another conference that Kelly and I were both at. And he gave the argument that we should be thinking about ourselves as a multi-episode program, right? That our gatherings, our events, our stories need to bring people through the evolution of the organization. Because so often we have this like rinse and repeat, right? Like we're going to put the ED on stage, we're going to have the board chair thank people. And he's like, what if we were a series? What if it was Marvel 18, 19, 20, right? And that we were continuing to bring people through a journey. So I love that you actually have an example of that, because we left there going, oh my God, our events need to do this.
We were like, how do we? Because it was so cool. Yeah, that was really fun. I do love an event that we did, and it is not an it wasn't an item necessarily. I mean, kind of, it was a raffle, and it was for women writers and women authoring change. And one of the raffles that we did, and this might've been your brilliant idea, was a banned book raffle. So everyone was banning books. Yeah, they were banning books, and we're like, all right. Like, so I'm up there and I'm like, all right, you're not going to get these anywhere else because they're not for sale anymore. But it was playful. It was fun. And people really got into it. We sold out that raffle in no time. And I think that was your brilliant idea, was it not? Or someone from the organization.
May have been, yes.
It wasn't mine, but I loved it because it really showcased, it was all authors that were from this organization. And so it felt good to support them. And it gave an opportunity for everyone to play along, and someone won, and they were thrilled.
That same event had a very mission-centered auction item. One auction item, just one.
That's true.
One auction package. Their focus of their event is an appeal. It's a hybrid event. It's actually going to be coming up in 2 weeks.
Yep.
And they have people tuned in from all over the world. Mm-hmm. And when we close the program and we say goodbye to our virtual audience, Kelly then turns to the room and has a platter of cookies, because this particular location is known for their hospitality. It is a writing retreat. And as a writing retreat, they are like the hosts at the most. They lead with radical hospitality, and they are known for the endless cookie jar. And they auction off a platter of cookies, and it goes for like $2,500 because it's mission centered, right?
And so we have two. We always have a backup one too.
It's the story.
Right, exactly.
That's why people show up.
Yeah.
So I want to know how long you all have been auctioneers. So Adrian, you indicated you're new. You're not that new, but how long have you been an auctioneer?
2.5 years.
Okay, Matt, how long?
Yeah, just under 4. I was in the circus for 30 years and realized this is a perfect transition.
Perfect transition. Stephen, you've been auctioneering since when?
It was like in the early to mid 90s is when I started.
Okay. Kelly?
I started in 2005, so 21 years.
Yeah.
What
okay.
year are we in?
Yeah, so I grew up in an auctioneer family. My mom's an auctioneer. My stepdad's an auctioneer. My 2 brothers are auctioneers.
What genre of auctioneers?
And then you
Well, they
married
were in
an auctioneer family?
I married an auctioneer whose mother was an auctioneer, whose father was an auctioneer. Now we're on our 4th generation auctioneer.
Are your kids going to be auctioneers?
We've got one, and he was the one that we did not have our money on.
Oh.
So he auctioneers comic books online on Whatnot.
Oh.
And so I've been doing this for 25 years. Pretty much started in the middle of college because you need to do things for money. And I found working in the auto auction was the place. So I got my start in the auto auction world, and then stepped away in 2018 to be a full-time fundraiser.
Okay, I'm coming back
I
to that
thought I
question
heard that
for you.
auto auction in your chant yesterday. I was like, I hear a little something. I trained with livestock auctioneers. Which one of these girls is doing her own thing? It was a wild time. I've been a full-scale auctioneer for 10 years, paddle raising longer, emceeing since I was in elementary school.
So I asked this question because I think that one of the things as a planner I run up against when I'm working with organizations all around the country is we have someone. That's the pat answer. Oh, we have someone that does our ask every year. Can I ask who it is? It's our board member. What do? They're a doctor, they're a lawyer, I'm like, but do you have a professional fundraiser doing your paddle raise? And I'm curious if you could share with the audience, and Bobby, I'm looking to you because you've sat in both corners of the world. I'm curious if you can share what a benefit auctioneer is, different from a commercial auctioneer.
There's a huge difference, and it is that fundraising focus. It's the heart of service to be able to help the nonprofit as much as we can in the capacity that we can. And it's not about us. There are some commercial auctioneers that'll hop up and be like, look, I've got this funny party trick that I can do, and that's the only value that I'm able to bring to the table. And if that's the only value that they're bringing is the fast talk, then they're leaving so much aside. And a true fundraising benefit auctioneer understands the mission. They understand why we're fundraising the way we're fundraising. They understand that we're working to engage an entire audience, not just a couple bidders that are there. And then we're building up to that big philanthropic crescendo, which is the paddle race, and then someone that's able to change their tone, to change their energy, and to be able to create this collective giving environment. And there are a lot of commercial auctioneers out there that do fundraising and do understand that, but then there's a lot of auctioneers that get asked to be that person and miss the mark, and it's unfortunate to hear that. So, yeah, it happens.
It happens. And I want to talk a little bit more about that. We're going to take just a short break to hear from some of our promotional partners. But when we come back, my question for you all is, when you're talking to an organization that's never had a benefit auctioneer, how do we make that turn? So we'll be right back to dive into that.
Ready to take your fundraising to the next level? Need to get unstuck in your event planning? Now's your chance to connect directly with the experts behind the fundraising elevator. Book a one-on-one consulting session with Sam for strategic planning and fundraising strategy, with Kristen for your programming and storytelling, or Mary for your registration and data tools. They're here to provide you personalized answers to all your event questions. Don't wait. Raise more at your next fundraising event. Book your session today at swaimstrategies.com. You can also find the link in our show notes.
All right, welcome back to the fundraising elevator. Before the break, we were talking a little bit about the difference between benefit auctioneer, commercial auctioneer. We all come from a different background. We have performers, circus in history. Stephen has a background in broadcasting. Broadcasting. And we all have that experience of being in a meeting with a conversation with a nonprofit who hasn't ever hired a professional benefit auctioneer. So how do you turn the knob to help people to understand the difference of their friend and their Uncle Joe joining to make the ask versus a professional in the room raising money? Matt, I see you with your mic up.
Oh, yeah. Data science.
Yeah.
Data and neuroscience.
Yes.
And if you're not talking about those two, I tell you, you can say, hey, we are, no offense, Stephen, we're hiring the newscaster because he's a great MC and he's going to be our auctioneer. If they're not somebody who is then going to point to, this is the data that shows how to make money, this is the neuroscience that backs up how to get people to give and give generously, you are working on a wish. And I tell them, look, you're hiring an MC, you're not hiring an auctioneer. And it's the skills that we bring to the table that are going to make a 5-6+ figure difference to you. And you are not saving any money by having that board member, that person who's good on a microphone. It certainly helps to have had a background with being comfortable on a microphone to become an auctioneer, but it's not just I'm comfortable standing on stage. It's I'm going to bring you the science and make this happen.
Yeah. Great. Stephen, I saw you were about to jump in there.
Well, I mean, I think that I always tell the folks that, yes, Uncle Joe or whoever that you said, Sam, they may have done a great job. But what's missing? What are all of the details that are missing? What are all of the tweaks that we could do as professional fundraising hosts and auctioneers and people who are in the space that we can do to make it better? If they are doing a silent auction, what can we do to make it better? If they are doing a raffle, there's a million different ways to do a raffle. How can we advise you to do it better or different or make more money at it? All of the spaces in your auction, all of the fundraising touch points, we're going to be able to help you with. So whether, and that's even with the live auction about how many items, what are we going to do? What kind of items do we need? All of those things is going to be advisable. That's not what the PTA president or Uncle Joe is going to be able to do. And that leaves money on the table.
Yep. Sasha?
As fundraisers, we're at Elevate all day. The last 2 days, we talked about relationships, right? And nonprofits, as our clients, are no different. We are in relationship with those nonprofit partners. And I think when nonprofits are scared or hesitant, it is often because they haven't had a relationship with someone like us, or they've seen somebody who did a just fine job, but they don't really quite know what's missing. So I really focus on the relationship. If somebody's feeling a nervousness about working with somebody like me for the first time, it's like, listen, I understand not only the stakes for you as the nonprofit organization, I understand the mission and the vision and the values and the programs and your impacts. I understand the whys of nonprofit fundraising. Mm-hmm. I understand how this is one part of an annual development and strategic plan. So I understand the nuts and bolts that you all are bringing to it, and I'm going to be a really good partner to you behind the scenes leading up to it in building strategy. But couple that with my knowledge of being on stage and how to make all of your ideas, all of your passions, all of this land on stage. Then how do we hold and carry the audience successfully through this whole thing? Because they're part of the relationship too. So I'm in a relationship with you as the nonprofit partner. We are both in a relationship with your guests. How do we hold and carry them successfully through this so they feel contained, centered, grounded, and able to successfully achieve what we ask them to achieve? So I'm bringing like multiple perspectives to this work that we're going to do together, and know that I understand how to make it land from the pre-event to the stage to the post-event. And I'm going to be your friend and your relationship. I'm going to be in relationship with you throughout.
I'm going to go back to experience again, and experience, from an experienced fundraising auctioneer is going to ring out through that microphone. And like you were saying, you're holding these guests and these donors so softly in your hands that the more comfortable that they are and the more confident that they are in the fundraising and the more that they trust the organization, the more that they're going to give. And if the organization says like, okay, well, we're going to save a little bit of money and use Uncle Joe, then it's going to create kind of a weird energy and a weird vibe that's in there, and it's going to make people uncomfortable. It's not going to make them more generous. Whereas someone that's up there like yourself, that's just so eloquent and so well versed in the mission and all of these things, and then understand fundraising and understand how to move a room, it creates again that positive experience, and that's what I always like to ask my nonprofit clients is like, at the end of the day, what is the result that you want to have?
Yeah.
Do you want people leaving the event being like, oh my God, that was the best event ever, I love this organization? Or are you they're gonna leave and be like, oh my gosh, what was that? I'm never going back. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
So which do you want?
It's an investment to have us there, right?
Yeah.
And if they've never paid the what it costs to have us there as working professionals who make our annual whole living doing this work, right? Then sometimes there's a little bit of sticker shock. So I say, hey, I get it. I understand that you've never hired somebody like me. I understand that might look
And
like a
there's no
large
budget for it.
investment. Better make one. But for whatever you spend on me, trust we're going to raise vastly more than what you spend on having me there.
I saw all mics go up at that point, but Adrian, you've had your mic ready, so I wanted to have you jump in on it.
Well, just to add to what everyone is saying, I think for them to really look at us as an extension of their development team, and I don't think that they look at us as that. What they think of is the night of, I have someone on stage, instead of thinking, oh, this person can help me even strategize before the event. And that's what we bring, that person that's there that evening. They have no idea how to fundraise. So we're bringing that fundraising expertise that's not just event-based as a part of it. So I think that's a big focus. And then for me, I've been an executive director. I've been a board chair, still a board chair. I'm still fundraising. I have a ministry. So I've been in their shoes. And I bring that history of saying, this is what I recall 25 years ago when we were doing fundraising, and it was the soft appeal, which you spoke about, at Elevate, is when you have the envelope on the table and you make an ask. One, I've seen just asks being made very badly, where you ask and you continue to plow through the program so you don't give people time.
Just scan the QR code at some point this evening.
Yeah.
Right, that to
Maybe.
even if you, and so you really, people don't ask when you do that, but then even if you give time in the program and people give, I noticed, they still don't give a lot, to now what we're doing with the paddle race. I've just seen in 25 years the difference having someone on stage that is leading the audience through this wonderful moment to give to the mission. You build momentum. Momentum begets momentum. And so to see how that exponentially you're able to raise funds doing that compared to a soft ask.
Yeah.
I bring that to the table, my history of being able to say, I was a one-person team at one point, to sometimes we were a four-person team, but as a one person, I knew I needed help. And this person who has this background, this expertise, helps us get to serving the people and the mission that we want to serve.
Okay.
Outside of inviting them to an event to see the difference, I also sometimes will bring up the idea of, how difficult is it sometimes to ask your peers to give in the moment? You feel that fear, right? We talked about that with people get nervous about going and asking their peers to give. We hope that that's not the case, because it shouldn't be. But sometimes people get nervous, and that's why they don't even want to do the appeal. So why would you put that person on your stage and ask them to do the entire event.
Yeah.
Right. They're going to go, you get a stress and beyond not having the experience and everything else, there's a stress in that for them. And that can also, accidentally derail your event because they are feeling as though, well, I don't know if I should, or if they're trying to do the auction and they're like, okay, I'm going to do an auction. And they're like, here, better. That's great, but it's the wrong thing, right? So it's important to put people up there that feel very comfortable. And we're those people that I'm going to ask anyone anything. Well, I'm going to ask anyone anything. If I can connect something for someone, I'm going to ask for it. And that's part of the fun for us, and we're used to it, and it's not scary, but it can be scary for someone who is doing this one time out of the year.
One of the best tools we ever put together was a cut with the AV department, who's our production partner here today. They cut one of your appeals into, this is what she's doing right now. 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 And I actually, in my session at Elevate, I was going to show it, but it was more important to do it in the room because then people feel it. But I will attach it to this episode so that at the end of the episode, people can see that, because it is a tool that can go to a board chair. It can go to an executive director and say, this is how it needs to feel in our room. This is how it needs to look.
And it's just like you said, you're showing that cut. It's the planning and intentionality of what we're doing. You might get lucky as a board member, as Uncle Joe, and have a generous room, but there is no blueprint to the success. I think that's the biggest thing. And just it's a silly phrase, but it's a good auctioneer's not cheap and a cheap auctioneer's not good.
Yeah.
It just isn't.
So there's a layer here that you all have kind of touched on, which is training, that you've all had training as a benefit auctioneer, which is different than a commercial auctioneer. You two train people, both of you.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Do you train people, Sasha? Stephen, you train as well. Can you, for anyone who might be listening who's interested in auctioneering, like, what's the path to becoming a benefit auctioneer?
Ooh, I've got this. I have the thing for you. So, of the many hats that I wear, I am also a auctioneer coach, and I'm the founder of auctioneerschool.com. SKOOL.
Entrepreneurial therapy.
But the reason I built this, and that we collaborate as well too on an educational workshop, is that there is an auctioneer shortage that's out there.
Yeah.
And it's my mission to be able to help the world find more auctioneers and develop that talent that's out there. And there's so many great people that have so much great background and passion and skill, and they have the experience to be able to step up there, and sometimes just don't know how to do it. So it's finding mentors, it's finding coaches.
And then we do the impactful event fundraiser course that we started last year in December. We did our first one. We have another one coming up in June that we will train a handful of people in the room onto how to be a successful auctioneer. Then outside of that, I mean, I've trained Adrian, I've trained a lot of people in the Portland market. I train people because I think it's important that they know how to do it. And I want to help them shave 5 years off the learning curve, because we need people and we want them to be successful. I train people and then they go out and do it on their own. And that's fantastic. That's such a good thing for the world. It's not about me. It's not about us. We just want to help people be successful.
I always like to say that we're here to help pour gas on your fire.
Yes.
The reason I know what I'm doing is because I found videos of artisan auctions on YouTube. I found Swaim strategies and the fundraising elevator, and it's something I share with all my clients. Look, I could remake this video myself. You can also just watch a person who has been doing this forever, and the people who are bringing the authors and the data to the room. And this is how I learned. I literally I got, the school of internet, right? But I can tell you everybody's video I watched, what I loved, what I didn't. And I decided this is how I want to be. I love this style. I love this empathy. Wow, this is huge. I have a 45-page long document of every note I've ever taken from every video, every seminar, every webinar. Wow. And it's, I'm never going to turn it into a book, because sometimes it's verbatim writing down what you said, but this is how I informed myself. So,
well, that was a key reason why Kelly and I joined up this year on Elevate and said, well, how do we extend into the auctioneering community and get more auctioneers here? You started a trend by attending last year, and we were like, why aren't other auctioneers
Where's
in the room with
everyone
us?
else?
Because what our need so often is, if I call the person that they utilized last year and they're like, I already have another event date, I'm like, I need someone just as good. I need someone who understands the value and the importance of the fundraising paddle raise, the strategy that goes into it. And so having collaborators in this space is just such a value add for sure.
How many of y'all are booked on March 14th and April 28th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're busy days.
If I can just add too, the need for auctioneers of color.
Yes.
So I'm really happy that Kelly took me under her wing to train me, and that, Bobby D, you have your school. But auctioneers, not just of color, but those that speak other languages.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
That represent the communities
Thank you.
our nonprofit partners
Yes,
are serving.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, this was, it was a year ago, I did an event for my African-American community, and the MC was also African-American. He actually said, you know, and this was an adult man in his 50s. He's like, this is the first event I've ever come to here in Portland, Oregon, where it was a Black auctioneer.
Yeah.
So
It's important to have representation in the room. And I want to emphasize other languages because that is one of the biggest requests we get. So if there's anyone listening that is multilingual, that is interested in auctioneering, it is time to become an auctioneer if you are comfortable on that stage, because there's so much opportunity in it.
And the thing is, I speak Spanish, and I would love to do it in Spanish, but I want to see Latino, Latina,
Yeah.
you know, auctioneers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because again, it's their community. I love the community, and but still, we need to have all languages.
Agree. Well, in the fundraising elevator, we ask everyone the same final question, which is, what is a piece of wisdom you want to impart to the listeners? Most of our listeners are in fundraising, or do fundraising events, are in the nonprofit sector. So as the elevator doors are closing, as we're all headed up, what is a piece of wisdom that you would share? Whoever has an idea?
Okay, so March 2nd and 3rd next year, 2027, get your booty to Elevate because it's fun. It's one of my favorite events of the year. I wrote a whole article on it online. I think of it as my Christmas. It is so fun. You get amazing education. Come, join us, be a part of it.
I'll pay you later.
Okay, thank you. I'll take it.
I try and use, I don't remember, many people have said it this way, but I try and make incremental improvements in everything I do every day. So whether you're the nonprofit or you're the auctioneer, read one new thing, watch new video. You know, if you make a 1% increase in your skill and your knowledge every day, what does that end up, you know, being at the end of the year, at the end of 5 years, at the end of a decade? So,
Sasha.
My dear clients who've worked with me for years, they know a lot of my sayings by heart, and I'll start to say it, and they're like saying it with me. But one of my most important lessons is more asks of people's money does not equate to more money. More things in your environment does not equate to more money. What we want always is a strategic and thoughtfully curated set of asks that are right-sized to your audience. So often, in fact, less is more. So just if you take nothing away from that barrage of mouth words I just said into the universe, let it be this: more asks of people's money does not equate to more money.
Well said.
Yeah, wow, bravo. I'm going to talk right to the nonprofit professionals and fundraising event people that are out there, and I'm going to say you can do better. You can do better in just like Matt had said, in different incremental ways, but you can do better, and I want you to strive to be as best as possible. Now, there is no perfect event, but there is perfect execution, and there is a excellence that can be created. So always look at what areas can you do to improve and to be better.
I would say it's not a transaction, it's a relationship. Oftentimes people look at other people as ATMs. No, we are human beings. And so humanize them and really get to know them. You know, obviously there's a capacity issue, but if you're talking about looking at more of the donors that give higher, you know, and you might have a program, major gifts program, but don't forget that other person, because sometimes, you know, someone giving $5, that's an individual too.
Yeah.
And so really humanize people, because you don't know what that $5 donor can do.
Yeah. Absolutely. Stephen?
Well, whether it's direct mail or any other sort of marketing you're doing to raise money for your organization, or whether what we all love is the events, whether it's a Raise the Paddle or a small auction or whatever it is, your mission is the star of all of what you are doing. There's nothing else. It's not Kelly, Bobby, Sasha, Adrian, Matt, the Kilted Auctioneer. It's not me. We are not the stars of the show. The star of the show is your organization. You just got to remember that.
Yep.
Mic drop from the car in the parking lot of Seattle.
In the pouring rain.
Well, thank you all for joining us in the fundraising elevator. It was such an honor to have you all elevate this year. I do hope you mark your calendars. We are coming back together March 2nd and 3rd. Thank you for that plug, Kelly.
I have to. I love it.
Well, our hope always is that we're continuing to look at this evolution we're going through. And as the sector is continuing to be bombarded by change, continuing to focus on the good and continuing to bring the joy. And I think you all do that so beautifully. Thank you for being at Elevate. Thank you for being a part of our podcast today. And happy fundraising to you all.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you fired up to raise some money for North by Northeast tonight? Folks, we've come to a very special part of our program, and what I'd like to do is ask everyone to get really quiet at this moment. So if we can get everyone real quiet right here, right now.
We got the opportunity now to share the story of a fantastic partnership with one of our North by Northeast family members. Please turn your attention to the screens to learn more.
My mother and my father are civil rights workers. They very much instilled in us the importance of standing up for each other. When I first got diagnosed with high blood pressure, I was in here every 3 weeks. That's the day they saved my life. I knew I was going to be okay because you trusted this place. They really helped save people's lives, and I think there's a lot more lives we can save and reach.
Community, it is my honor to introduce a North by Northeast patient, friend, family member, and a member of our Patient Wellness Council, Abigail Lawrence.
Thank you, Jamal. Thank you very much, and thank you all for being part of my family. Being cared for by North by Northeast feels so good. And because of North by Northeast, I feel like Black health matters in this community. I want our important work together to continue and thrive. You make all of that possible. You make all of that possible with your generosity, and I ask that you give all that you can. And thank you for saving my life.
This is the moment where we all get to come together and give generously. So here we go. We're going to start off at the $5,000 level. We have levels of giving for everyone in the room tonight. So first level is at $5,000. Who out there would like to make a gift at the $5,000 level? Bidder number 198 at $5,000. Bidder number 105, that's the Frank Foundation. Bidder number 102, Dr. Johnson. Thank you very much. I want to hear a roaring round of applause for all of our donors at the $5,000 level. The Collins Foundation wants to ignite some generosity. They will match the first 4 new gifts at $2,500. Your gift will be doubled. We'd love to have your support. Bidder number 207, bidder number 191, bidder number 161, bidder number 332. For anyone that gives it $500 tonight, you'll be entered to win a beautiful pair of diamond earrings. Our final level of giving tonight is at the $20 level, and in honor of Pastor Mary, Dr. Jill Ginsburg and Dr. Louise Clark will match every single gift given at $20. Oh my gosh, it's a sea of beautiful hands in the air. Smile real big, everyone. You're going to get your picture taken. Bidder number 104 is giving 5 times, and just for the record, that's Dr. Louise Clark. She's going to match her own gift, and I like it. Folks, tonight in our appeal, I'm really excited to announce that we raised $64,000.
Hey.
Y'all, A big roaring round of applause to each and every one of you. That was incredible.
The Fundraising Elevator is produced by Sweem Strategies at the studios of the AV department. The program is produced and directed by Steve Osborne, with audio engineering and original music by Dwayne Anderson and Heidi Christensen. Video production by John Collier. Graphic design by Pendulum Creative Group. And voiceover by Josh Boykin.
Hey y'all, it's Kristen. Before we leave, I want to ask for your help to make the podcast grow. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please like, follow, and subscribe to the Fundraising Elevator. And if you're getting a lot out of the show, share it with a friend. Leave us a review. These things help make sure that the podcast continues heading up. Thanks so much for being here and tuning in.
Change. It doesn't happen on its own. It happens on purpose. Thanks to nonprofits that believe a brighter future is not just possible, but needed and deserved. And that connect people to causes and turn moments of generosity into movements. That's why Bloomerang is built for purpose. To raise the bar on what's possible and help every act of giving lead to more. Because when the bottom line is a better world, no goal is too lofty. Bloomerang, built for purpose.
Are you ready to engage supporters and grow your base with your own podcast? Then let us introduce you to our partners at the AV department in Portland, Oregon. In addition to delivering exceptional live event audiovisual production and videography, they also have a top-tier production studio and an expert team ready to take your content ideas to the next level. Contact the AV department to schedule a consultation and start bringing your podcast vision to life.